This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so in the last session, we talked about how we can create an object and how we can alter the object that we have seen, how we can create a table, right? So everyone is aware of how we can create a table. Once we have created a table, we need to feed the data into this table. Just for sake of knowledge, I'm going to take you through. This will be useful the people who is going to work with ADF and SSIS or any other ETL tools in the market. So for rest of them, just for sake of knowledge, I'm just going to take you through. In order to manipulate the data into this place, we are having three different statements. We're having three different ways to feed the data into this place, or three different ways are there to manipulate the data. So one is insert, and the second is update, the third is delete. So these three we are going to talk it today, and I'm just going to connect to SQL Server with SSMS. So SSMS is a client tool that we need to use it to connect it. Let's open SQL Server Management Studio. Let's connect to the server, that is the RSoft in my case. So we created the storage, the data store is the database name that we have created. We are not having any table at this point of time. I guess we have it. Let's see. So when you select this database, you can use this new query to open a query window. Select star from employee. I'm just writing it. I'll talk about this statement later. So three columns are created here. In the last session, we have done it. How we can create it. Now I wanted to insert the data into that particular object. So to insert the data, we have an insert statement. Insert is used to feed the data into the table. You can feed a record or you can feed multiple records at one shot with the help of insert statement. So this is the syntax that we are going to use. Insert into table name. So what you're doing, we are doing the insert. So where do you want to do insert? I wanted to do insert into the table. And then you can specify the list of columns. You can specify the list of columns, or you can just leave it as it is also. So there is nothing is going to be happen. And values we are going to pass according to this particular column. Column 1 value is value 1, column 2 value is value 2, and column 3 value is value 3, and so on. So how I'm going to insert a single record into the table, that I'm going to show you now. So this is the table I'm having. I wanted to insert. Insert into what? Insert into employee. This is the name of the table, employee. And we can specify the columns or you can avoid specifying the columns. I'm just going to show you without specifying the columns. Values. And then we need to follow the order of this table. Whatever the order is there for this particular table to feed the data, we need to follow that particular order. So first is employee number, employee name, job, and salary. So I'm just taking a sample data here. 100 is the employee number. Employee name is Raj. So text should be enclosed in a single quote. We have seen the data types, right? Text data types or character data types, we came across it. So text is always going to be enclosed with the single quote in a SQL Server. In some places, there may be enclosed with this double quote, but when it comes to SQL Server or when it comes to SQL, we are having a feasibility to show in a single quote. to represent that is a text. So now I'm just taking, this is the value 1. Value 1 is what? This is for employee number. Employee name is Raj, and job I'm just taking as clerk, and salary I'm just taking 1000. Close this. So just follow this. 100 is going to come into this particular place, and Raj is going to come into this place, and clerky will come into this place. The position 100% position is matching. So you need to follow, if you don't mention the list of columns here, then you need to follow the order of the columns in the table. So that is what I'm doing here. And if you want to add a single row, then you can add this one. Let's execute this particular statement, and you can see one row is affected. One row is affected. If you go and see the select star from employee, so this particular statement will be used to read the data from the table. This statement will be used to read the data from the table. So when I execute now, you can see a single record in this table. So that is what I'm doing here. And if I wanted to add only, let's say I wanted to alter the table. Let's see how I'm going to alter the table. Okay. If I wanted to alter the table, we know already. Alter table. Table name is what? Employee. What you're doing? I'm just going to do the add. Add what you're going to add. I wanted to add commission. That is a money data type. I'm just altering a column. Okay. Now if you go and see here, for this column, we are not having the data. So automatically for the first record, it is going to get a blank. It is going to get a blank because we are not feeding any data for this. Now I wanted to feed the data into this particular table by providing the names of the columns. By providing the names of the columns, I wanted to do it. After altering this one, I'm just taking 101. Let's give some name. I'm just taking a 2000 salary here. And if I try to execute this, it is not going to be executed. Previously, it was executed because you're following the order of the columns. But for one of the column, the value is missing. Now you can see column name or number of supplied values does not match with the table definition because you're following the table definition. So since you're following the table definition, it is not going to bring the data for that. Altering table with commission column and feed the data without passing commission. So if I try to pass without passing the commission, then it is going to be failed. So which error you are going to get? This one, column name or number of supplied values does not match with the table definition. So this error you are going to get it. So instead of this, if you wanted to exclude a value for the commission, if you want to exclude a value for the commission, then you have to specify the list of columns. You have to specify your definition. Instead of following with the table definition directly, I'm going to specify what are the columns I wanted to take it. So I wanted to take employee number and then employee name, then job, then salary. Close this. So like this, you can do it. Now, if I execute this one, If I execute this, it is going to be executed. Now it is possible because you're giving the definition directly in this particular place. So if a table is having 100 columns, if you wanted to feed the data for only few of the columns, you can specify the list of columns here, so that you can pass the values for those columns only. Whatever the order you have specified here, the same order you need to give it in this place. Now if you go and see the data here, two records are available. Now I wanted to feed the data multiple rows. I wanted to feed multiple rows. So how we are going to feed multiple rows is the same to same. I'm just going to take it. You can specify the list of columns here. I'm just giving commission also, since there is only one column is missing. Okay. So let's give this one or two. Salesman. I'm just taking some details. I'm just feeding some details here. That is okay. And I'm just going to give 500 is the commission for this. This is one value. Now, if I wanted to add multiple values, then you can give a comma separator here, and you can pass as many values as you want, something like this. So this is a 3, this is 4, just giving some jobs here, analyst. And if I don't need to pass the value for the column, you cannot leave it as it is. You have to pass null. If you wanted to avoid a value to the column, then you can pass a null. So I'm just giving something like this. So 3 values I'm just feeding into this particular place. Let's take a copy here, and I'm just pasting. If you want to avoid a value for any of the column, then we can pass null. Now I'm just going to execute this. So only we have a 2 records. Now I'm going to execute this statement. So multiple records, how we are going to feed that I'm having here. So 3 rows were affected in this place. So to minimize this window, we have a control R, control. You just press control R again and again. You can feel what you can do it. Let's paste this code again here. I'm just going to execute the select statement. So whatever the rows that we have entered, all the rows are available here. That is about how we can feed the data with the multiple rows. We have seen with single row, and we have seen with the multiple rows. And if you wanted to follow your own schema or own order of the columns, then you can specify the list of columns here. If you wanted to avoid a value for any of the column, then you can pass a null. So null is going to be possible for any kind of data. You can pass it for the number, you can pass it for the text, you can pass it for anything. So just keep in mind, that is what I'm saying. If you want to avoid a value for any of the column, then we can pass null. Simple. Next, this is very important. So this one we are going to use very frequently when you're writing the stored procedure. When you're writing the stored procedure, there is a chances to use it. So we cannot say we don't say we are not going to write the insert statement at the time of writing the stored procedure. I'm sure, but In general, directly you're not going to write the insert statement. There is a feasibility to use this particular statement at the time of writing the stored procedures. So what is a stored procedure? We'll talk about it later. Now I wanted to get the data from one table to another table. So inserting data from another table, inserting data from another table. How we are going to insert the data from another table that I'm going to show you. Here we have a data here. Here we have a data. I wanted to bring the data into another table. I'm going to create a new table. Okay. So how I'm going to create a new table is the same to same syntax. I'm going to take it. Whatever the syntax I'm having here, the same syntax I'm going to take it. Creating a new table. With the same employee syntax. Okay. Create table. Table name is what? EMP I'm taking. Employee number is the int data type. Ename is worker. Job is again worker. Sal is money data type. And commission also is a money data type. So this is the table that I'm going to create it. A new table it is. If I execute this one, you can see the table. EMP is the table name. Now I'm not having any data in this table. So I wanted to feed the data into this table. I wanted to feed the data into this table by taking data from this particular place. So how we are going to feed the data into this table is, again, by using the insert statement, we are going to feed it. By using insert statement, we can feed it. First of all, just bring the data. If I say select star from table name, in general, basically what we are going to do in real time at the time of working is we are going to give the list of columns here. Employee number, employee name, job, salary, and commission. And if I execute this, now you can see no data is available. But if I write employee, then you can see the data here. I wanted to feed all this data into another table. On top of this, what you have to do is insert. Insert into what? Insert into employee. We can specify the list of columns here. That is employee number, employee name, job, salary, and commission. So you're feeding the data into this table in the order of these columns. Okay, so that is what I'm saying here. You can give the list of columns in the insert statement, and here also you can give the list of columns. First, you have to write the select statement. So once you write the select statement, what happens is it is going to show you is that executable or not. So once it is executable, on top of this statement, you can write the insert statement. So where do you want to insert? I wanted to insert into employee, EMP table, new table. So whatever the order of the columns we're having, same order just specify here. But these columns are going to be is going to come from the whatever the table that you're taking. Let's execute this. Now 5 rows are affected. 5 rows are affected. If I go and write this select statement, select star from EMP, if I execute this statement, now you can see the data here. Because we have taken the data from this table to this table. So from one table to another table, how we can feed the data is this one. So this is what we are going to do it. Feeding data into EMP from employee table. So this kind of statements we are going to use very frequently. Keep in mind. And next is update statement. I wanted to update it. I wanted to modify the data which is there in the table. So if I wanted to modify the data, how we are going to modify it? So update means modification. So data is already available. I wanted to do changes of the data. So if you wanted to do this, then we need to talk about update statement. Update. Update statement is used to modify existing data in a table. I'm already having a data in the table. I'm already having a data in the table. So at the time of feeding, for some reasons, I entered wrong value. I entered wrong value. So if you wanted to modify that, then definitely you need to talk about update statement. So it's very dangerous statement. Until unless there is a specific requirement, do not go for this. Okay, so because we faced many times when you're executing, make sure to have a where class. So what is a where? I'll talk about it later. When you're updating, when you're executing update statement, just have a look. Do we have a where statement or not? If you don't have a where, then it is going to make a big problem. So it's very dangerous. Because of that reason, you're not going to get a permissions to execute update statements. But this is how we are going to update it. Update statement is just to modify existing data in a table. Update table name and then set. So we need to specify update. What do you want to update? What is the name of the table that you are going to specify? And table is going to have a column. So those columns we are going to set column values here. We are going to set a column values. Column 1 value 1 comma separator, column 2 value 2. If you want to update more than one column, then you're going to use comma separator. If you want to update only single column, then you can go with the single column without comma separator. So to go with multiple columns, we need to go with the comma separator. That is what it is. So I'm going to have a where condition. I'm going to have a where condition. Updating a single column in a single row. First single column I'm going to update it. Just observe this statement and we'll do update for only for 100. Okay. So how I'm going to update for 100 is update, then table name. What is the name of the table? EMP. And then we need to set a value for the commission of this particular record, first record. Commission equals to 200. If I execute this statement, it is going to execute it. But for each and every row, it is going to give a 200. That is dangerous. If you update like this, if you update entire table, then it's very dangerous. If the business requirement demands, then you can do it. But if the business requirement is not demanding, then you're not supposed to do it. So you have to do for what reason you're going to use this update statement. I wanted to update for only 100. Then we need to say where employee number equals to 100. where employee number equals to 100. So what is this where? I'll talk about more in detail at the time of select statement. At the time of select statement, we are going to talk about this where. So where is very important for select and where is very, very important for update also. So if we execute this statement, what happens is it is going to set a value 200 for the commission where the employee number equals to 100. Let's execute it. Now if I execute again select statement, now you can see it got updated for only first record. So that is how we can do update of a single row. How we can update a single row. And if I wanted to update for multiple rows, sorry, multiple columns and multiple values, it's a different story. First, I wanted to go with updating multiple columns in a single row. For single row only, I wanted to do it. Commission 200 is there, right? I wanted to make this 300 and job I wanted to say it is a salesman. Same to same, I'm just taking. This is going to be 300 where employee number equal to 100. That is fine. But job also I wanted to change it. Job equals to salesman. So why we are taking here comma separator I'm taking. I'm just going to update it. Again, one row only affected, but multiple columns. Select star from EMP. Now you can see 300 is there and salesman is there. That is what I'm saying. So we can update for multiple columns. Updating multiple columns in a single row. Updating multiple rows. If you wanted to update multiple rows, how you're going to update it? So 10% of the salary I wanted to add it here. 1000, 10% is 100. So by default, I wanted to get that for every employee. So just observe update EMP set. I'm just taking a salary here. Salary equals to salary plus 10% of the salary. That means what? Salary multiplied by 1.1. That is 10% of the salary. I'm going to show you the single column. For all the rows, for multiple rows, I wanted to take, that means wherever there is a commission is null, I wanted to apply for that. Or if you don't give the where clause also, it is going to give for each and every employee, it is going to give 10%. Okay, so let's give for everyone. I'm just going to update it. I'm just taking a snip of this table before updating. Now I'm just going to update it now. 5 rows are affected. Execute the select statement again. Now you can see here. Here I have 1,000. Here I have 1,100. Okay, and here I have 2,000. Here I have 2,200. That means 10%. So 10% means salary multiplied by 1.1. That is the formula. Okay, for everyone, it got updated 10%. So that is what it is. For all the rows, but keep in mind, it's very dangerous. If you want to update for any of the specific records, it is always recommended to use the where clause. Make sure to use where clause while doing update. Okay, so this is mandatory statement. Next is delete. So delete also same. We are going to we are going to remove the data from the table. If you wanted to remove the data from the table, then we are going to use the delete statement. 99% there is a more chances to ask a question. What are the difference between delete and truncate? There are more chances to ask a question about this. So this is not the right time to talk about the differences between this, but I'll take you through this later some point of time. So let's talk only about delete. So what it is doing, I'm not talking about the differences between them. So delete statement is just to remove one or more rows from a table. So you can remove a table, we can remove a record from the table, or you can remove more than one rows from the table. It all depends. So delete is going to have the syntax like this. Delete from the table. Whatever the name of the table that you have, that you can take it. So delete from table name where condition. So we are going to write the condition. So condition is always going to have a column name, operator, and value. So we'll talk about this later. At this point of time, I don't want to talk about it. So deleting a single row. I wanted to remove a single row from the table. Delete from table name, that is EMP, where employee number equals to 100. I wanted to remove 100. There is a 100 if you see in the table. I wanted to remove 100. Then execute this statement. A single row will be removed. So when you are using the delete statement, also make sure to use the where class. If you go and see the data now, you cannot see the 100 here. So that is about how we can remove a single row from the table. And if you wanted to remove multiple rows from a table, delete from table name EMP where commission is null. So what is this? We'll talk about this where class. I already told you we are going to talk about this more in detail. So I'm just going to execute it. So here is one null, here is one null. Two records are going to remove. So that means more than one row. Now if you go and see the data in a employee table, you're having only two records. So that means by using this particular statement, we can remove multiple rows. If you wanted to remove a data from all the, if I wanted to remove entire data from the table, then we don't require to give a where class. But this is very dangerous. What is the reason? What is the motive to use this delete statement? You need to be very clear. So let's execute this statement. What happens is it is going to remove the entire data from the table. If you go and see the data here, no data is available. So that is about delete statement. Okay, so data manipulation that we have seen. So data manipulation, DML, we have seen how we can do with insert, we have seen, and update we have seen, and delete also we have seen. And this select also we can say even DML also, because we're just bringing data from the table directly into another table with insert statement. So whatever I told you today, inserting data from a table is very important. Just practice that one. So now I wanted to talk about the number functions. First of all, if you wanted to talk about the numbers, I'm just going to give a brief idea about DQL. Data querying language. Data querying language. If we wanted to understand how these functions are going to work, not only the number functions, any kind of functions, there are various functions we are going to see. If you wanted to understand them, writing with select statement is best practices. Writing with writing functions with select statement is best practice. Okay, and we can also use these functions in all the places. I mean to say, in DML also you can use it. In DML statements also you can use the functions. But as we are going to work as a reporting developer, we are always going to talk the functions with select statement. Okay, so keep in mind there is a chances to use with the update, and there is a chances to use with insert also. It all depends. But I'm going to take you through the functions with select statement. So select, the name itself saying that we're selecting the data from the table. Select from, you have to say what is the name of the table. So that is what I'm saying here. I wanted to see the data from employee table. Then select star represent all columns from the table from table name. So at this point of time, I'm writing a star, but in real time, writing a star in all the places is not recommended. 95% we are going to avoid writing the star, but 5% we are going to use the star also. Okay, so what are the 5%? We'll see that later. But 95% I'm just going to write the list of columns. But just for saving the time, I'm just giving a star in this particular place. Let's execute this statement. Now you can see the data here. All the data is coming from the table. So we need to know about the functions. We can use the functions in this particular place. We can use the functions in a where class. So we are going to see where exactly we are going to have a where class. So wherever there is a column, we are going to use the functions. So the very first set of functions I'm going to talk is number functions. So what are the purpose of number functions? The purpose of the number functions is to handle the numbers. To work with the numbers, we're going to use the number functions. So SQL Server provides several built-in number functions that can be used to perform operations on numeric data. So we are going to have various functions to operate on the numbers. Okay, so I'll talk about these functions on tomorrow's session. I'm stopping here. Is everyone clear? Is everyone following with me? The SQL is little tough when you compare with Power BI, but very important. Okay, so we'll see you on tomorrow. Thank you for joining.
Bhaskar, I just have a query. Doubt.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. We have calculated the salary by percentage
Yes.
and new value scheme. But if I want to add a column and update the table to the other column, is that
We can do it. That is possible.
possible?
That is possible. Let me say alter table employee. Yeah. Now this column is empty, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I wanted to update this. Update employee set email equals to ABC where employee number equals to 100. Now if you see the data in this table, you can see that.
Oh,
Okay.
got it.
Yeah, any other question? Okay then, thank you for joining. We'll see you tomorrow.